How's it going, Gothamites? Welcome to another Gotham video. Now this one is my top 10 villains of season 4. Now this is different than just like the previous video I did where it was just like top villains in Gotham, the top 10 villains. This one is purely based on their villainy in season 4. So some people, I can already imagine, are going to be like, why isn't Victor Zsasz on your list? Well, I will tell you why. He wasn't, like, in terms of villainy, he didn't do, you know what Victor Zsasz is like in Gotham. Like, as much as he's like people's favorites, there's not, he's a plot tool. So I don't want to upset anybody by not having people like Victor Zsasz on my list, but as I mentioned, this is purely based on villainy. It is a completely different kind of order than what I did in my previous one, so I'm just going to jump straight into this. But guys, if you want to see more Gotham videos just like this, be sure to subscribe to the channel, because if you're not already aware, we do a lot of Gotham on this channel, amongst other stuff. So before I forget, I need to start doing this a bit more. If you want to check out my little card up there somewhere on my top 10 villains in Gotham overall, at that current time, yeah, card is in the somewhere up there and links in somewhere down there. Okay, so starting from number 10, it is Barbara. And I don't really know what too much to say there, is because this list is because of pure villainy, and as I said, so that's why some people might disagree with this, or they might not really get what this list is about. As I said, the Victor Zsasz thing, people might put him at number 1, but if you really think about what he's done in season 4 in terms of like pure diabolical villainy, no. But Barbara definitely deserved a spot on this, because at the end of the day, no matter what you say, no matter what you think of Barbara, she was quite villainous this season, and to be honest, I'm this close to putting her at number 9 because of who is at number 9. The Sirens with Tabby, and then the whole League stuff happened. As much as I don't like that storyline and things like that, she has proved to be quite the villain alongside Ra's al Ghul. She even killed Ra's al Ghul combined with Bruce. As I mentioned, not a huge fan of it, but she had to be included on here. Number 9, which I'm going to get onto now. I almost felt peer pressured to put this one in here, and that is the Riddler. So the reason why Riddler's at number 9 and probably should maybe be at number 10 is because, was he much of a villain this season? No. If you really think about it, the only villainous kind of stuff he had to do was when he was with Lee, you know, the Doc, and they were like robbing the banks and stuff like that. But really comparable to Barbara, I'm not so sure. I felt like I put the Riddler here because maybe a little bit of bias, because like, he's not my favorite character at all, but I just, for some reason, when I was making this list, I was just like, but surely the Riddler, like, you know, is one of the greater villains. But no, this season, obviously, he was with Grundy at the beginning, he didn't have his intelligence, he was getting it back, blah, blah, blah. But not really, and if I really kept going on about this, I would have to almost put Barbara at number 9 and Riddler at number 10, because, yeah. As much as Corey is a great Riddler, it's just this season he didn't feel like much of a villain, and this list, remember, is purely based off their villainy, and I don't think he was very high up in the list in terms of that. So number 8 definitely is Scarecrow. Scarecrow was obviously introduced quite cool this season. Like, I felt like people maybe overhyped it because there was a lot of complaints saying, oh, well, blah, 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 Scarecrow, you know, is that it? Blah, 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 blah. Where did Scarecrow go? Everyone was wondering that, and it turned out he did actually get captured, but they really didn't communicate that across to the audience at all, because obviously he was in Arkham when the Legion of Horribles escaped. The reasons why is because the beginning, obviously that episode with Jim Gordon, or the couple of episodes really, and then like how that asylum was taken over, and then obviously the Legion of Horrible stuff, and then there was that extra scene towards the end of season 4 where he had that hat and stuff like that, and I added in my notes like Gotham's portrayal. The way they've just done this villain and introduced him mainly this season rather than, you know, season 1 is very good. He was definitely villainous this season. He helped out with the laughing gas and everything like that, so definitely a number 8 for sure. Like, hell yeah, above Riddler. Okay, so number 7, guys. As much as I don't want to really say this, and I don't really know, Sophia Falcone. So reason why is because ultimately she did do a lot in terms of villainy this season. I mean, for example, she took the Penguin down a peg or 2 or 3, and she like basically killed her father, Carmine Falcone, whatever you want to say it. She had Jim under her thumb, and basically she was the criminal underworld boss, if you think about it that way, for a little amount of time until she got like a bloody bullet in the head and somehow still alive. In terms of this list, she has to be at number 7. She has to be included. She was one of this season's main focuses in terms of, you know, you know, you got Jim as the protagonist and Bruce and blah blah blah. But then as for antagonists, Sophia Falcone was definitely that for a period of time. So to put her not put on this list would just be really weird. The thing is, I was excited for Crystal Reed coming to the show, but I just felt like her story kind of dragged a little bit. A character annoyed me to a degree towards the end of it. By the time it was coming to a close, I did definitely want to move on to the next thing, and I was worried if they were going to bring Sophia Falcone right into the back end of the season. Thank God they didn't, because if that was the case, I reckon things would have dropped off a lot more for a lot more members of the audience. So this is where the list gets a little bit more exciting, because I feel like all of these really are solid bets. And number 6 is Jervis Tetch. Now, even though he wasn't in this season a whole bunch, one thing I have to confess, and you guys probably notice, you know, my opinions about a lot of stuff on Gotham if you've watched me for a while. As much as I liked the casting for Jervis Tetch and everything like that last season, I really didn't enjoy it too much. I felt like it went on for too long. It was a bit like bland in a way, just for me personally. But as for this season, the stuff Jervis Tetch had was remarkable. I believe, oh man, the actor Benedict, is it Benedict Samuel? No, I can't remember. But either way, he was phenomenal. When the Legion of Horribles escaped, well, technically they weren't Legion by this point, Jervis was on the streets talking to Harvey and James Gordon, and like he had the people under his control. You could argue what he did with all of those people. That was an amazing shot they did, even though obviously it wasn't real, but all those people on the rooftops. That is arguably one of the most villainous things or acts to be done in Gotham ever. So that was just incredible. And then we had extra scenes of him, stuff that was either serious or stuff that made me laugh, you know, like the kind of rhymes that he said in Jeremiah's maze. Either way, Jervis Tetch, part of the Legion of Horribles, very villainous, didn't have obviously too much more than that, but what I've already mentioned, and I just, yeah, 100% deserve the place on this because of, yeah, what I've already said. Okay, so number 5, guys, is Ra's al Ghul, or Ra's al Ghul, or Ra's al Ghul, but, you know, Gotham say Ra's. But the thing is, as much as he was disappointing to a lot of people in terms of the potential they had, that even though the casting was great for Alexander Siddig, he definitely did do a lot of stuff, villainous stuff this season. You can't deny that. He really springboarded Bruce's, you know, Dark Knight philosophy or ideology within himself way forward. But like, through a lot of villainous acts. I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is Alex Winthrop. Do you remember that? When Bruce was going around the museum, he had that freaking golem-like thing. I think that was borderline a bit too far for Gotham. It was a bit cheesy. I don't know. But yeah, when Bruce had to like hand over the knife, I think, or, you know, otherwise it was Alex getting killed or his throat slit or something like that by Ra's. That was really intense, and Ra's actually did it. That was one of some many things that he did this season that were really badass, really villainous. You know, he foresaw No Man's Land. He really helped that come to fruition because it didn't happen by itself or how he thought it would in his vision. So yeah, Ra's definitely deserves a number 5, even though he could have gone a lot further in Gotham's universe. This is what they've done with him, and you know, he is above Barbara. Hell yeah, he's above the Riddler this season. Hell yeah, I guess, you know, he's above Scarecrow and stuff like that, because Ra's al Ghul played a big role, whether you kind of like it or not. So number 4 is one of the best things of this season, and that was Michael Cerveris as Professor Pig. Now, say what you will if this was Laszlo or Professor Pig, irrespective to this video, he was just fantastic. He had the GCPD chasing after him across multiple episodes, like, you know, like a headless chicken. It was fantastic. He had Jim completely under his thumb. The storyline was very, very good. Just whether it's from the scenes, as I said, it turned Gotham back, or like evolved it for a few episodes more into that Jim actually going after this serial killer on the streets kind of crime drama that I believe it originally was in season 1 in a way. But this was done really brilliantly when he was in the ambulance van and he had that makeup on and Jim was just talking to Professor Pig right there and then, and you know, he was right under him. Just moments like that made this story very, 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 very interesting. What more can I say? He was a proper decent example of a villain that they did this season across many episodes. So number 3 is Jeremiah Valeska. Now, the reason is because the next 2 villains I felt were kind of more villainous, and we didn't get like a bunch of Jeremiah this season, even though this is a top villains of season 4. But the reason why is because he created the Gotham, if you know what I mean. The Gotham that we're very familiar with of when Batman's around, No Man's Land. Even though he kind of created No Man's Land in a way, and I'll get to what I mean by that in a second. You know, whether we're talking about the bombs around the city, the bridge blowing up, and just all that kind of stuff, Jeremiah is quite a literal embodiment of a villain. out of all the names I've already mentioned already, you can't deny that, you know, he is above all of those this season already, despite not being in a load of episodes as many other characters maybe I've already mentioned. But that's just because of the acts he's done were really diabolical, really mad, and he definitely deserves that spot at number 3 because, well, yeah, I feel like it's self-explanatory. He's set the city into darkness now. That set up the premise for season 5, and Bruce Wayne into Batman. So number 2 is the Penguin. That's just because he is... I know I just said that Jeremiah is quite literally an embodiment of a villain, but Penguin, I would say, almost steals the cake for that very sentence in terms of who is a villain on Gotham. Penguin is a goddamn villain on Gotham. So this season, whether that's in the beginning with the crime licenses, up to the really head-on-head battle with Sophia Falcone, where it's just like, if you want war, you've got one, and just stuff like that. That is brilliant. I know he wasn't so big towards the end, but, you know, Oswald is like an OG villain, and I feel like he's always going to be in the top 3 in terms of the Gotham TV show, unless, you know, it went on for another 5 years. They might choose to invest in other characters. But for the first 4 seasons, he's been huge kind of cape that they've kind of flown with for this show. The reason why he's above Jeremiah really is because even though Jeremiah did some mad things at the end, Oswald has been a consistent badass villain, a very lead by example kind of villain in terms of if you want to look at somebody in Gotham who's always up to something or up to no good in any other episode or anything, any episode in season 4, Oswald Cobblepot is your man. Okay, so number 1, if you hadn't guessed it already, is Jerome Valeska. Now, this is for many things, and some of you may be wondering, hey, you didn't put Jerome Valeska as your number 1 in the previous, like, top 10 villains of Gotham overall. And that's because Penguin, in my kind of mind, in that video, just was the best villain overall in Gotham, the consistency and everything like that. But Jerome, we're talking about season 4 here. Jerome... Now he's dead, but like the things he's done this season, the things that he's birthed are just almost unspeakable in terms of villainy. And this guy, even though he was only in episodes 13, I think to 18, did more villainous things than any other villain on this list put together, really. And maybe discount Jeremiah, but that's where this links in. Jerome is number 1. Why? Because the Legion of Horribles. That is just... He created his brother, that Jeremiah Valeska, another inspiration for the Joker, or if they really aren't going to actually display that on screen this season and leave it very much so up to the fans, then he may very well have created your Joker, like the Joker, the ideology of it all. Regardless, he's still an inspiration if they are going with that storyline, which... I'm not going to get into that. But right related to that, due to creating his brother, he, you know, set and created the domino effect for No Man's Land. You know, you could say Jeremiah created that, but if it weren't for Jerome, you know, saying and doing what he did, it wouldn't be where it is today. So Jerome Valeska literally was the best villain of season 4 of Gotham. Now that may sound very cliche, but I couldn't not give it to Jerome. He was just remarkable for all the reasons I said. That speech he had as well when he was kind of falling off the roof to Jim was very true. He made such a villainous impact that he will always live on in the heart of Gotham's discontent or something like that. I can't remember. And just on top of that as well, bonus stuff, it's like he did so many villainous things throughout the season. You know, like, I don't know, when he was on stage as well and he got Jeremiah and Bruce to come up on stage. Just little things like that, little Jerome-y things that he did that were crazy. Jerome Valeska, number 1, no brainer for me. But anyway, guys, I guess that is the video. That is my list, and I've said this a few times, but it was just purely based on who I thought was, you know, the top 10 in villainy this season. So everyone's opinions are different. Yours may be different. So I'd love you to link yours, write your top 10 in the description. I'm looking at doing a video on perhaps reacting or just like looking at your guys' top 10 and just, you know, I guess talking about it. But leave your top 10 and the reasons why as well, because I want to know why you have ranked them in the order you have. Other than that, everybody, thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, why not leave it a like, as it really does help the channel. And if you're not subscribed already, be sure to subscribe for more Gotham videos just like this. Links are in the description, everybody. Be sure to check them out. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.